Hello everyone, I'm Kyle Glockner, and welcome back to another episode of Face Off. With the recent announcements of Pokemon Sun and Moon, I'm feeling the Pokemon hype returning, and I felt like coming back to the franchise for another battle. Previously, between Pokemon Red and Blue and Pokemon Gold and Silver, I determined that there was no decisive winner, as they're really two halves of a greater whole. But, as you all know, Pokemon didn't just stop at a second generation. So for this battle, we're taking the first and second generation games and pitting them against Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Let's get started. For a brief recap of the previous battle, the Pokemon franchise up to this point had 6 main games released for the classic Game Boy and the Game Boy Color that features 251 Pokemon to catch and trade. Various features in these games include Pokemon breeding, a way to raise certain Pokemon from the very beginning, the day-night cycle, allowing for different encounters at different times, and one-way trade from Red and Blue to Gold and Silver. These games were all Pokemon fans had until 2002, when Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire were first released for the Game Boy Advance. Taking place in the seaside region of Hoenn, the third generation of Pokemon introduced yet another 135 all-new Pokemon, bringing the total to 386. With beautifully updated graphics and a whole new world to discover, these seem to be the sequels Pokemon fans have been waiting for. Or so they thought. These games did away with the day-night cycle that added so much more importance to the time and day you played the game, meaning the world was forever locked in daytime. On top of this, one of the most infuriating features about these games is the inability to transfer Pokemon from the previous games to these. There was no way to take a Pokemon from Red, Blue, Gold, or Silver and transfer it to Ruby and Sapphire, making it impossible to have all the Pokemon. Now, with later additions to the franchise, like the remakes of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which were remakes of the first generation, and Pokemon Emerald, which offered a limited selection of second-gen Pokemon, players were not able to add more Pokemon to their collection, but initially you could only get Pokemon directly catchable in Ruby and Sapphire, making it impossible to catch them all. But while they do have their flaws, these games actually brought a lot to the franchise that still holds up today. These games added the concept of double battles, where trainers send out 2 Pokemon to battle instead of 1. This is a huge difference from before and paved the way for competitive battling strategies. These games also included many side games like the Trickmaster's House and Contest, which gave players a nice break from the main game. As for the plot, like their predecessors, the only real plot these games have is the same Gym Badge Pokemon League story the other games have, as well as the main legendary arc, which involves the evil team of the game. Speaking of that evil team, unlike the static Team Rocket in the previous games, in Ruby and Sapphire there were 2 teams, one good and one bad depending on which copy of the game you had. In Pokemon Ruby, Team Magma was the bad team who sought to revive Groudon to create more land, and in Pokemon Sapphire, Team Aqua was the bad team who wanted to create more water using Kyogre. With the differences in the evil teams, different starters are much more effective in each game. In Ruby, Team Magma tends to use more fire types, making the water starter Mudkip a better choice, whereas in Sapphire, Team Aqua uses water types, making the grass starter Trico the best choice. This leaves the fire type starter Torchic as a nice moderate challenge for players who want to expand their team. While the third generation of Pokemon games took away some very crucial features from the franchise, they brought back more than they took. While they may not be the most favored Pokemon games by fans of the originals, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire are the winners of this battle. So what do you think? Do you think the original games are the best, or do you think newer is better? Be sure to let me know by tweeting me at CTV Goofing Off using the hashtag FaceOff. Until next time, I'm Kyle Glockner, and I'll see you next time on Face Off.